children. In continuation with the videos that are being posted for furthering the syllabus, I bring before you a couple of slides for magazine article. As you all know that article writing is an important part of the writing skills and you have been doing it since long. You have written paragraphs, essays, magazine articles, speeches, reports, etc. Focusing on the magazine article today, we are going to talk about the format, the process, and how to go about it. Next slide. Children, you know that article writing is an art. And with this art, we need to keep in mind some examination specifications too. For example, when you begin to write an article, the first thing that is required is the format. The appropriate format of an article would be a title or a heading, followed by a byline which covers the writer's name. When you read the question given in the question paper, you would find that this piece of information is already given in the question paper. So what you need to do is pick up the content for the title, use the name as the writer's name, and this is going to fetch you 1 mark. Next slide, please. When you start the, writing the content of the magazine article, you need to keep in mind that there has to be a regular progression of the content. Remember to divide the content in minimum 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph is the introductory part. Well, you can give the introduction of the topic by building up the context. You can draw the reader's attention by specifying what the topic is about, number one. Number two, put up a question for the readers to read. Number three, give some facts. We don't want you to give some numerical data or statistics to us, but then some kind of a trend could be shown. And last and most importantly, you could start writing a magazine article with some kind of a quotation or a one-liner. This is going to add to your content and also give a literary touch to the content. Next slide, please. Children, when you talk about the content of the magazine article, it is not very different from how we write an essay. You talk about the introduction, merits and demerits. If it is a social or a global issue, then what are the causes behind it? Followed by the consequences and the after effects. Advantages and disadvantages could also be covered. Do not forget to wind up your thought process. The winding up process includes giving your opinion, some kinds of comments in the form of criticism or recommendation. What kind of a recommendation as a writer you can give to the readers? Well, recommendation could be in the form of a piece of advice or a call for action. Next slide, please. As I just mentioned, the conclusion covers a hope, a warning, an appeal, or a call for the nation. Remember to conclude in 2 or 3 sentences and let it be eye-catching, let it be very direct for the reader to read. Here, when I say reader, I mean to say the examiner who is going to read your magazine article. Next, please. The entire process of writing a magazine article, let me sum it up. Give a catchy title to your content. Begin your content with some opening sentences wherein some kind of interesting facts could be mentioned or some quotation could be given. Be very cautious while writing sentences so that a regular cohesion is maintained. To maintain cohesion, do not forget to add linking devices to it in the form of however, therefore, although, even though, to make it coherent. Introduce a new idea at the beginning of each paragraph. You have done this in note making too. Develop your ideas and make and substantiate with examples if possible. When you conclude, as I mentioned earlier, conclude with some rhetoric question or an appeal to the readers. Next slide, please. The split up of marks, total marks 10, 1 mark for the 1 mark for the format, half a mark is for the title, and half a mark is for the writer's name. Content is of 5 marks, which covers the logical organization of your content and how relevantly you have put up your ideas. Expression is of 4 marks, which again has been further divided for accuracy in the form of grammatical accuracy in spellings and coherence and relevance of ideas. So it is 1 plus 5 plus 4, or you could say 1 plus 5 plus 2 plus 2. Now, this gives a fair advantage to you students, children. If you follow the technique, if you follow the approach, you need not develop a Shakespearean style of writing to fetch good marks. What is required is fluent English in the form of good original ideas, some sort of creativity, and I'm very sure you will be able to write wonderful magazine article which any reader would love to read. Let me wind up this session today. Next slide, please. I have an assignment for you. Before we have one-to-one interaction in the classroom, let me conclude every session with some kind of an assignment. Today, children, I conclude with this writing of a magazine article. Write an article in about 200 words on the topic films and their influence on school-going children. You are Manpreet slash Manjula, a student of class 12. Now, children, the question itself gives you two pieces of information. First is the title, and second is the writer's name. So follow this process. Give an introduction to what films mean to young people. In the second and third paragraph, talk about the pros and cons, the influence films have on the young. And last of all, conclude with your opinion. What do you feel, and what kind of a balanced approach people should have towards films? Do not forget, your focus is on school going children, that is, you and your peer group. That's all for now, children. Bye bye. Do your work in time, and thank you.